Oh, I got a big old snook here. Well, looks like I got my red here. Let me go ahead and turn off the trolling motor. There we go. A nice looking trout there. Go ahead and let him go and see if there's any more where he was at.
Hey, what's up everybody? This is a recent trip that I made after being landlocked and not being on the water for over a month. We had a bunch of crazy weather since the last time I've been out there, so I knew the fish were be in different areas. Now, fortunately, I was able to kind of keep track of where the fish were moving to because of the reports in our community, but I still had to spend the time on the water to find out exactly where they were. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I walked through the day and eliminated the negative water where there wasn't any fish and found where the fish were. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so I keep working the outside edges of these islands that you're seeing right here, and I'm not seeing any signs of life other than that one, little pack of fish that I saw earlier today. There's not a whole lot going on. I do see some dolphin around here, so I'm debating on moving in to the insides of these islands and see if maybe there's some fish there. And I got a little trout on the flea flicker. Hey, so I got a dolphin that's following me, and all he's doing is he's waiting for me to catch something, and every time I release it, he's coming after it. So a couple things that you can do in this situation, because you don't want to feed the dolphins, you don't want them to get used to, these boats being related to fish. What I'll do is I'll go up there and I'll release the fish up shallow so they don't get to it. Or what you can do is just stop fishing for a little bit, and they'll get bored and they'll go away. But this guy's been kind of following me here for probably about 10-15 minutes. I think he knows what's going on. Okay, you hear us talking about the 90-10 zone, and I kind of ran across this right here, just in a small portion. So we've got, a wind-protected cove right here that's got soft, muddy bottom, and we've got these birds working the shoreline, and this is the first time since early this morning that I've actually seen fish in the water. I just spooked off a red over there, but there's some bait milling around over there, and there were some redfish right along this bank right here. So, when you're out there in the water, especially in the wintertime in the cooler months, you can see the push right there. This is the type of spot that we're looking for. We're looking for these wind protected areas that got this soft muddy bottom, and this is where I've seen the fish. So a little clue that I got right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce around from island to island and just hit these types of places up, and we should be able to see some more fish. So we're kind of eliminating the water by trying different types of areas. Okay, so I was over at that island right there, and I decided to go ahead and kind of hightail it over here and work this island behind me. But I noticed there was some mullet, kind of out in the open, and I made the mistake. I went too fast, and sure enough, this is the area where all these redfish are. They're all over the place. They're in groups of 3 to 5, and they're scattered all over the place. It's because that's where the mullet is. That's where, the majority of the bait fish is, or at least the highest concentration of bait fish are. And, there's birds diving around here, and just, there's a lot of signs of life here. The only issue is I went too fast through here, and I kind of blew some of them off. Now, we get the question all the time about how long do we stay in an area without getting a bite, or how long do we use a certain lure before we start changing them out. And that has a lot to do with if there's fish in the area. So because I've been fishing pretty much all morning and I haven't seen a high concentration of fish, I'll stay a little bit longer in this area than I normally would. If I get into an area where I'm not really seeing a whole lot of signs of life or anything like that, it's, I'll fish through it and that's pretty much it. But now that I'm seeing a lot of fish here, and this is really, the biggest concentration of fish that I've seen, I'm going to stay here and work this area. Now, as far as what lures, this is when you're going to see me change more often. If I'm going along an area and I'm not seeing signs of life and I'm not seeing fish, I don't change my lures that often, or hardly any at all, depending on the situation. If I need something that'll go a little bit shallower, or something that's weedless, or something along those lines, I might change it. Now, in this situation where I'm seeing fish and I'm not getting those bites, then you're going to start seeing me change colors, change profiles, change retrieves, stuff like that, and try to see whatever they want. I've gotten a couple of bites, I've gotten a hookup, but really no commitment. So that just tells me I haven't found exactly what they want. So I'm going to keep working this area and see if I can, get to that combination between retrieve and profile that they like, and see if we can hook up to some of these.
I worked that area for quite a bit, and even though I saw some fish, they really weren't feeding. So I decided, instead of wasting more time there, I was going to go search for some fish that were actually feeding, and then come back and hit this spot at a later time to see if these fish turned on.
Hey, never randomly cast when you're out there. Always cast to something. Cast in a direction, cast at a depth change. Don't just randomly cast. When you're working a shoreline, don't just cast against that shoreline. Cast at the shoreline, cast in front of you, cast out deeper. And then as you're going down there, you can figure out where these fish are staged. They're not always against that shoreline. They can be moved away. And then once you figure that out, then you can start concentrating your cast in that area. There we go. Another trout on the flea flicker right here on this corner. He hit at it twice. I missed him the first time, but at least we found something. So what I'm going to do is anytime that you catch a fish, you want to go right back to that same area because you don't know if there's more there. More than likely, there are more there. So anytime that you catch a fish, throw exactly where you caught that fish from. There we go. A nice looking trout there. Go ahead and let him go and see if there's any more where he was at. Okay, so this is that island right here that I caught those trout on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my Smart Fishing Spots app, and I'm going to look for something that was like it. What it was it had deep water nearby, right close to that shore with rocks around it. That's what those little black dots are. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just kind of zoom around and look to see if I can find something that duplicates that, because I think there'll be more trout there. Typically, if they're there for one reason, if you find another spot that looks a lot like it, then oftentimes you can get more fish there. So I'm going to poke around and see what I can find and see if I can get another island like that. Well, looks like I got my red here. Let me go ahead and turn off the trolling motor. Very cool. Went back to that area that I saw earlier when I was seeing all those redfish and I was having problems getting them. What I did was I came back and I decided I'll throw the Prawn Junior, and I'll tell you what, when things get tough, you put that Prawn Junior on there and you can usually catch them when they won't bite anything else. And sure enough, this guy decided he wanted it. Come on. No, 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 no. You're not done, are you? Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Come on. There you go. Bottom slot red. Got the Prawn Junior in its mouth. Let's go and let him go. Oh, I got a big old snook here. Oh, the only problem is I don't have good leader. Ooh, I was expecting trout, not big old snook. I think I might have him hooked good though. Oh, this would be a nice catch if I can get him in. I'm going to go ahead and turn that down. I'm keeping a light drag on him because I got that light leader. At first when he jumped, I thought it was a tarpon until I saw that stripe. But you know how these snook are, they love trying to get off. And keep my rod down a little bit, keep the pressure on him. Try to keep his head down. You really don't want the fish jumping. That's when they're more than likely going to throw that hook. Yeah, it looks like I got him hooked on the outside. He doesn't have it down in his mouth, so there's a chance I can get this one. I guess there's always a chance. There we go. Nice. Hey, and that's the slam.
Now, this snook was nowhere near the size I thought it was when it first jumped, but it was still a fun catch anyway.
There you go. Let's go ahead and get you back in. There you go, buddy. Cool. There he is right there. Let's see. He did get a hold of it, so I'm definitely gonna have to retie. Wow, that is. I'm gonna see if I can pop this. Let's see. Barely. Okay, so I'm heading back to the ramp, and I want to do a gear check real quick. We always have people ask us what we caught the fish on, so I want to go over that with you. On the trout and that snook, that was caught on the flea flicker in the Slam Shady color. That was a 15-pound leader, 10-pound main line. The rod is a Cajun Alted, obviously in the casting model. It's a medium power and a 7'6", or excuse me, 7'3". I used to saying 7'6", but that was the rod. The reel is an 80 size This is the Daiwa Saltist. I also have the Daiwa Coastal. If you're looking for a good all-around inshore casting rod, look for that 80 size. That Daiwa 80 is a workhorse. It does everything well. Now, when it comes to the other redfish that we caught in that area where we were having trouble getting bites on it, we had to go to that Prawn Junior. Obviously, we caught that on the Prawn Junior in that natural color. That is the 3/0 and the 1/8 ounce, the Haas Helix. I've got that on 12, or excuse me, yeah, sorry, this is 12-pound leader, and then I've got 6-pound mainline, and I've got that on the Otis 2500, and the rod is that new Slam Stick in the medium light. So this is my first day using that, and pretty impressed with it. It handles these smaller lures really well, and it fights fish really well. One thing that a lot of medium lights have an issue with is being able to set the hook in a weedless application. I think it did perfectly fine. I use a lot of medium lights, and I have to be really careful about what rigs I'm using them with, but it did well. So I'm going to continue using them on these smaller, the 2.0s and the Prawn Juniors. I think that's going to fit the bill, unless I'm going for specifically larger fish, oversized fish. I think that's going to do good. So if you got any questions about the setups, go ahead and put them down in the comments below.
Now, our insiders got a different version of this report. We actually do a post-trip report where we do some map analysis where I talk about the exact spot and also go over some trends that I saw that can help the insiders catch more fish whenever they're out on the water. So again, that's only for the insiders, but if you do have any questions on catching more fish or if you need some help, definitely check us out at saltstrong.com.